Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and this is our guest, Paula Fellingham. She is Dr. Paula Fellingham, the founder of the Women's Information Network, or WIN, and also the director of the Prosperity and Peace Initiative. Yes. So, Paula, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
I'm happy to be on.
Well,
delighted.
Paula has done some amazing things over her career. Well, enough to make me feel very intimidated and inadequate. It's not an unusual feeling for me, but just being reiterated today here with Paula.
Bless your heart.
Paula, thank you very much for being here. So, Paula, let's start at the end and then go through the whole story. So you are working on the Prosperity and Peace Initiative. What is it?
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Our mission is to lift the level of love, prosperity, and peace on earth in 196 nations. Wow. So we just launched it 3 weeks ago here in Salt Lake City at the World Parliament on Spirituality. And we had wonderful speakers and presenters and performers from over 50 nations come, and we talked about this. We talked about that this is the perfect time. It is the perfect time in history because there's such a rising and awakening. There's an increased consciousness, and we know this, and a great yearning for peace. And also, because of technological advances, we can distribute on an app any kind of information, and even the poorest of the poor, even my dear friends in Africa, they all have a phone. Yeah. And they're all able to access this information. So we have a wonderful organization of 9 regional directors, and then we have 196 peace ambassadors. These are people who live in America or Canada and the Americas who grew up in another nation. Oh, and then they will be working with our national peace ambassadors, and those are people who live in the nations, 196 of them. And collaborating, of course, with experts and wonderful people in the nations to not only translate, but customize all the information we give them. So our stories, it wouldn't say Jennifer. If it's down in Peru, then it would be Maria, So taking this wonderful information, which is called Total Life Excellence, because we believe that, of course, peace begins in the heart, in the home, and then throughout humanity. And how do we start? It can't be just about holding hands and singing Kumbaya, right? It's got to be practical ways to create this peace. Right. So we help them in all areas of their life, all 7. There are only 7. It's mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, and in all their relationships. So when I say spiritually, I'll back up, because this is all beliefs, all religions, all cultures, all nations.
Now, one of the things that impressed me about our preliminary dialogue was your focus on measurement. You don't anticipate this just happening. You've designed some measurement right into this from the beginning.
That's right. And actually, I didn't personally do this. We have some wonderful statisticians on board at 2 different universities that have gotten together, and we believe that this will be the funding actually that will be needed for this huge, big initiative will come much more easily when we can prove we have measurable data. And so we're able to then say, these are the programs that we're going to begin with, that we're launching into these nations. And then on Peace Day every year, which is September 21st, so on Peace Day, September 21st, 2017, over the 3-day period, because of course, every date is 3 days because of the dateline. And then we'll be able to have a peace summit in 196 nations. It's very thrilling to me. Wow. And we're already planning for this. So then at that point, we'll be able to say, well, let's just take Malaysia or Singapore. We've got X number of families who have been able to go through our Solutions for Families program. We have the different companies who have been able to go through our training on how to reduce the conflict in companies. We have a certain number of people who have started and grown their businesses. So we have programs and then ways to measure the success or the failure, really. If they say, no, we don't have any more peace than we had when we started this program, then of course we reassess, but we're hoping that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, how on earth did you get here? You're a mother of 8.
I am.
grandmother 24.
I am.
When do you have time to do anything? And let's just tick off. So for 12 years, you and your family toured, did a show
In the summers.
in the summers,
May to September, yep.
and you earned a Doctorate of Education.
When I was 50.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have written 6 or 7 books.
6th, the 7th is on its way, and I need
Good.
to let you know what the title is because it's my favorite title of all.
Okay. What is
It's
the title?
2 words. Get it.
Get it. Okay. Yeah.
At what point?
Yeah.
And so we're starting with actually Get It for Women.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So great author. You started the Women's Information Network. I mean, you've done so much.
It is because of others. It really is. When you have wonderful people working with you, not any one person can develop a network in 152 countries. Not any one person can, fulfill this wonderful, or implement, I should say, this wonderful peace initiative in 196 countries. These are teams of people. I have literally hundreds of people working with me who are committed to this and who are volunteers. And our whole initiative is a 501c3, and it's magnificent. It's nonprofit, and I don't receive a salary from that. This is just the goodness of our heart, because who wouldn't want to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace in the entire world? And when you have people who are committed and say, this is what I want to do with my life, and then how could it not energize you?
Yeah.
And people say, are you tired at the end of the day? And they asked me that yesterday. I came in at 1 a.m. this morning from Canada, and I worked with my team there, and their offices there. There are people who are so dedicated. I said, no, my time here and the hours that we spent together, it's energizing, because you realize that the time is now, and you realize that you can. If you've got the pieces, why would you not?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not now?
Why not now?
So fantastic. Well, let's go back in time just a little bit.
All the way to LA?
Tell us about, it's just an interesting beginning to your story to talk about touring with your kids. Back, what would that have been, in the 80s that you were touring with the kids?
Yes, so actually it goes back to Los Angeles. So it goes back to, I was blessed to be raised by an entertainer who was very grounded and very, values straight. And so we really kind of had the best of both worlds. My father was Wendell Noble, and he was Steve Allen's partner. And anyone who's young doesn't probably know that name, but you know that name. Yeah. And this was a comedian, musician. And then I watched this, I was part of this, and the Hales, who are up here now in Utah, it was the Hale Center Theater in Glendale, California. And we had good times, and it was that world of sharing the music and the theater and the radio. And so that instilled in me this desire to use the media to share messages, and we did it through music. So as we started, I didn't want to raise the children in LA, and anybody who knows the state of Washington knows that there's an Olympic Peninsula up there that's just beautiful. It's the Banana Belt, and we went up there and raised our children, and then came here when my husband was hired at one of the universities, and he teaches statistics. And so we had this opportunity every summer where, because of education, and it was perfect. So you've got the mama who loves the music, and then the dad who was able to be in education, that had the summers where we were flexible. So it just kind of was a perfect story.
So where would you go to perform?
Fairs all over the nation. So you know how the military is a world within a world? Well, the fairs world is a world within a world. I'd like to, if anybody's listening who's a musician, there is a place where you can get hired at the fairs. It's one place, and we were booked every year for the next summer by going to this. It's called the International Association of Fairs and Expositions. And all the big groups, and William Morrison was there, all the talent agents, and all in the small fairs, then we were the big entertaining, we were their I'm missing the word, but the big show. And then we were on the grounds, and we were openers for some of the bigger ones in the great big fairs. For example, in Ohio, you might not know this, there are 90 fairs. And their state fair runs for 3.5 weeks, and it has millions of people who come from the Midwest.
Wow.
Well, we'd go every year to these fairs, and we started knowing the people, and the kids would, go to the Midway, and we'd just learn about the people in America.
Yeah.
When you say Kansas and Nebraska and Wisconsin and Ohio, my children know those, now
sure.
they're all, raised, and hence the 24 grandchildren. But we'd get in that bus, and, 4 months out of the year, then we'd be together. And so one of the things that I tell parents to do is find something that you do all together, whether it's traveling, whether it's karate, whether it's, the music, the art, but do something where they bond together. And so then I started writing those parenting books because people had asked questions about my family. And so then it turned into, well, let's, instead of telling one person at a time after a show, let me write a book so I could, and then that actually paid for our overhead. So that worked out well too. And then once I wrote one book, I realized, wait a minute, this isn't so hard. I have to do this again. And now I have a program called How to Write a Book in 90 Days or Less, which now I've done 6 times. So I really teach people there's a formula to writing a book, and it's not as difficult as you think. Because you're an author.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Well, you've had just an amazing career. You've done so much good. You're really a role model to countless people.
Kind.
Who do you look up to as a role model? Who inspires you?
A lot of women. I look at Marianne Williamson as one of my friends, and she just spoke at our event, and I spent some time with her, and people who are able to really, get it. People who understand that the most important things in life aren't things, and that she's not driven by money. She's driven by giving of herself to the world. And I look at the different people, the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. I've been impressed with, I love Oprah, and Brene Brown just came on the scene, and these different wonderful women and men, but I'm kind of niched to half the world here with a network. And I'm drawn to women who can balance their, and I shouldn't have even used that word balance, because I'm actually not in balance most of the time. I'm full on with my family and not even thinking about my business, or I'm full on with the business and not that, you have to do that. You have to have focus. But who I'm drawn to are the people whose heart is filled with love, unconditional love, and whose pure intent is to live a life in harmony with Jesus Christ's teachings. And everything that I have, the Prosperity Initiative and the WIN and all these entities, they're all people, all beliefs, all lifestyles, and we love everybody. But personally, I want to live a Christ-like life, and I am drawn to those who are able to do that while still being successful in other areas. They're filled with integrity. And like the Arbinger Institute, in the last 2 days, I flew to Canada, so I read one of their books. I flew back and read the other book. They're doing such wonderful things, and these are people who are making money from their programs, but they're also, their whole intent is doing good in the world.
Sure.
Those are my people that I'm drawn to. I want to learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you look back over your career and you think about this initiative here in what is perhaps the capstone to your career, this Prosperity and Peace Initiative.
Absolutely.
Why that? Why aren't you back singing and dancing? Why aren't, not that you never do that, but why is the focus now global peace?
Well, I think everyone has seasons in their life wherein it's right to do one thing, and then it's really a process here, and on a continuum. That was wonderful, but the kids are raised. I never ever did have any desire to become a famous singer. That just wasn't it. I did this mostly to share our music and to have something that our family did together. But the Prosperity and Peace sings to my heart, because as I've gone along in my life, and I hesitate even saying this, but I have to just be totally in integrity and honest, I'm in prayer asking, what next? What would thou have me do? And really, this is what my belief is that this is, well, I shouldn't say belief, my knowing is that this is what I'm supposed to do in this season of my life. And in fact, everything that I've done in my life has actually prepared me to be able to do this in every nation.
Yeah.
In collaboration, and I must always add that, with so many other good people. And what better than to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace in the world?
Yeah.
What's better than that?
Nothing better than that.
It.
Well, amazing. Now, you have done a lot of good in your career, and you continue to do a lot of good. We like to ask all of our guests for what we call an impact hack, some tip that would help us to do more good in the world. What's your impact hack?
I would love to share a quote, and I'd like to share two. Actually, there's one by George Bernard Shaw, and I'd love to invite anyone who's watching to do what you love to do. Find that thing and do it with all of your heart. And he said, this is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a true force of nature instead of a feverish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. He said, I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch, which I've got to hold up for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Close quote. Well, that's exciting. And I ask our viewers, what is it that sings to your heart? And our listeners also, it's audio, but what is it that you love to do on a Tuesday morning? When you get out of bed, you should be looking forward to doing that thing. And if you don't have that thing, come and see me. It's paulafellingham.com. It's all my contact information.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. How do people get in touch with you?
It's easy. Just Paula Fellingham. F like Frank, paulafellingham.com. And my contact information is there.
Fantastic.
So the last quote, do we have time for
Sure.
this? All right. So this is actually what Mother Teresa had in her, she had two things in her office, a picture of Christ and this saying that she said, I read this every day. And I thought, I want to know what Mother Teresa read every day that helped her be who she was and is. But this magnificent little woman who I look forward to meeting someday, she read this, and it was written by a man named Kent Keith. And it's a little long, so hang with me. So it says, people are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway, for you see, in the end, it's between you and God. It never was between you and them anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Paula, thank you so much for being with us today. We're thrilled to have had you. We wish you every success in your great work.
Thank you so much.
All right.
It's been my delight.
Let's do some good.